It's Alyssa, and this is my husband, Larry. I am so excited to introduce you to my mom friends.
Hello, moms.
In this episode, we are going to be talking about buying time. And I think that everybody can relate that time is something that you can never get back. And any way that you can buy more time is greatly appreciated. Mm-hmm. So today we got Larry, and we're going to talk about this because I had a moment a couple weeks ago that I was like, we need to write that down when we start our podcast. We need to talk about it. So here we are. So let's talk about that moment for a second, because I had just hired my first freelancer, and it was the best feeling in the world being able to be in two places at the same time.
Yes. Huge
So,
stuff.
You work a full-time job, so tell everybody about that.
I work 50 to 60 hours a week turning wrenches, and I really don't like it. Done it for about 10 years, and lately it has just been a waste of time. I wake up 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, and then I'm in a concrete box from 7 to 5:30, give or take, and time is wasted there. I get a paycheck at the end of the week, and it's decent, but seeing, especially with our floral design business, hiring freelancers, how much time can be freed and how much time is really worth. Because when you work that 9 to 5, or in my case, that 7 to 5, you get into a routine and you get comfortable, and then you realize, wow, this is really uncomfortable. So to see it from the entrepreneurial / business owner side, that you can hire help and it'd be the most freeing thing that you can do. That's really, the bulk of it. That having people to do the things that you don't want to do, that you don't have time to do, more things to get done at the same time, that's
huge.
The beauty of buying time. And in most cases, it's cheaper than you think.
Yeah. Let's talk about that for a second, because we are used to buying people here in America where, wages are pretty high. Mm-hmm. There are things that you can outsource overseas that are significantly cheaper, and you're paying people well, like in their countries, to be working for you that are significantly cheaper for us here in the States. So, like, for example, you could hire, like, let's just say, like, a graphic designer for something that you needed to do. You can hire somebody in, I don't know, like Taiwan?
Yeah, Taiwan.
India.
Anywhere in the world.
And they'll do a great job. They're super talented. And you pay a fraction of the price that you would be paying somebody here. So that's just...
Yeah. And that has a stigma to it, I feel like, with the, keep the working Americans working. But, we are all on the same planet. And there are, graphic arts designers, like you said, from, every continent that do good work, and, they're willing to be paid for it. And you can pay a fraction of the price, comparatively, in American dollars to whatever their currency might be. And you get the same quality work, and you're still paying somebody. You're still putting food on their table. You're still helping them pay their bills. Like, it's a win for everybody. And, if you are that, true blue American, you can hire, somebody in your town, because you can go on your local Facebook and say, hey, I need somebody that's going to be able to design a website for me. And I'm sure you'll get people falling out of the sky that want to build your website. And they're there, and people are itching for it. And if you cannot spend, how long did it take you to build your websites?
I mean, I've gotten good at it, so, like, now I can do it. Oh, my first one, it wasn't good. Like, let's just say that. It wasn't good, and it was a work in progress for months.
Yeah, literal months of her staying up until, anywhere from midnight to 2 in the morning after the kids are down, and, we're kind of settled in, of really grinding and, doing all the back end stuff. It's grueling. I never did it because I suck with computer stuff, but she's a computer whiz, so she did all that, and it sucked. especially like because our workspace is like in our bedroom, so I'm trying to sleep and she's doing it. And after what you probably did about 2 websites, you hired someone to do another website, and it came out gorgeous, and it was worth every penny. It was a little pricey, but it was worth every penny to not have to sit there and do it for a month to build a website. It took probably a few weeks, right?
Oh, no, not even, because I'm going to plug her. Her name is Rebel Studio Design on Instagram. She does 3-day website intensives. I actually did branding with her, so she designed my branding for my Garden in the Pines floral design business, and then she did the website. So the branding took a couple weeks to fully iron out our colors, color scheme, typography, fonts, all of that stuff. But as far as actually designing the website, she does that in 3 days. So
I didn't know that, so I was wrong. Not a few weeks, a few days.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how much it costs. It's so worth it to not have that pulling your hair out of figuring out all the back end, all the funnels, the clicks, all that stuff. It's just better to have somebody else do it. And that's just one small subset of your business, is having a website set up. And there's so many other little odds and ends that you could hire somebody as a freelancer, minimum wage, part-time, and it just be done for you. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to stress about it. You don't have to do it yourself and find time when you're trying to create all these other things. It's worth it. Even if you said in another podcast that if you need to pick up a side hustle that you're good at in order to pay somebody to do something that you're not good at, it's worth it. If you, like knitting, and you can make a nice scarf and sell it on Etsy for $30 or whatever. You make a handful of them in your free time, because we all have a lot of that, and you sell a handful of them. You get a couple $100. You can hire a freelancer to clean up your books for that month, or whatever, because money's out there and people are willing to buy things. Even if it's something small that you think is stupid, somebody's willing to spend money on it.
Yeah, and I want to unpack what you just said for a second, because you just breezed by that money's out there. A lot of us have these scarcity mindsets about money that once it's gone, but we all need to remember that money is a tool and it is abundant.
It is everywhere.
When you have that mindset that it is abundant, it's going to keep coming back to you, and it will keep coming back to you, big time. So when you think that way about money, you're able to reach for the stars and hire as much as you want, buy anything that you want, and really just be able to save your time for whatever brings you joy. So tell me a little bit more about ways that we can buy time. What are some things that we can do for side hustles, for, I don't know, anything that we can outsource that would make our life better?
As far as side hustles, and that's a very common phrase these days because everybody's got a side hustle for something, but something that I think that a lot of people don't realize is that there is so much in your niche and whatever you're going to side hustle in, there's so much availability that not one person can do it all. So say you got a nice camera. We just picked up this nice one that we're recording on. If we wanted to do a side hustle where we did some photography on the side, or if we took stock photos and sold them to Shutterstock, whatever, it's out there. And if you have something, especially buying a nice camera that you're using for your content or anything like that, it's it's a tool. You can use that for other things.
Absolutely.
So that's just one little nugget that you can do.
I want to unpack that a little bit more, because you mentioned something about something that you're already good at, something that you already have that you can use to monetize. Every single one of us has a cell phone that we can pick up and do Instagram for somebody. Somebody can hire us to manage their accounts for you, and you can make good money doing that because nobody wants to spend their time doing that. So if you can do that by creating a little extra money for you so that you can outsource other things that save you time, game changer.
Yes. And to be on the delivering side of that service, if you have a handful of free hours in your weeks and whatever, like she came up with a phenomenal idea because we're in the wedding space to do event strike, or it's cleanup strike is the industry term, and I'll go out to wherever the venue is in Jersey and clean up for our vendors. I'll clean up for other florists. I'll pick up their rentals, stuff like that, and they pay a premium for it because a florist has been designing for days for a wedding. They spend the whole day installing these giant installations and setting everything up and being all over the place, and they don't want to have to stay up until midnight just to go back to the venue and clean up and not get home until 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning.
Sometimes later. We had one strike that we didn't get home until 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
We left at 9:30 at night.
Yes.
That was the longest night ever.
Oh, it was a long night, and we grossly undercharged. But that's the thing, is that's a service that the people who are providing the flowers, who are florists, whatever it might be, they don't want to do that. They're looking for somebody to do that. And a lot of people they'll hire a college kid or a freelancer or something, and they're kind of SOL if they break their stuff or if they forget things, stuff like that.
Can't show up.
If they can't show up, they cancel last minute. For us, since we already have several other businesses, we know the back end stuff. So we have insurance, everything is all scheduled, it's contracted, they have a deposit, like everything is already in place, it's very professional. So to have that, and I don't do it every weekend, I get requests now and then, and it's an extra grand in my pocket for working a night, and that goes a long way in outsourcing and hiring other people.
Yeah, like I know I had touched on this in another episode, but you could use that grand that you're making and have meal prep for 5 weeks.
Yes.
And not have to cook for 5 weeks because...
And that's huge, to not have to cook at least like lunch and dinner for over a month by working one night. That's huge.
Yeah.
Because you could spend your day off. Today's Tuesday, we're both off. You could spend 2 hours going to the grocery store and then another 2 hours cooking. That's 4 hours, and then that's for your week. So you spend 4 hours a week grocery shopping and preparing your food, and then hopefully eat everything. Or you go online, you order your meals, and they drop it off on your doorstep, and you spend 5 minutes putting everything in the fridge.
You just gained 4 hours of your day.
You gain 4 hours, and you've talked about it in the past, like your minute wage when you're an entrepreneur. You set, you want to be a multimillionaire, you got to make $100 a minute, for a year, and 4 hours is a lot of time. We spend, 4 hours doing this, and it adds up quick, especially over the course of a month. That's 16 hours. That's almost a day out of your month that you spend just on food prep for you and your family. That if that could be cut down to a half an hour a month in putting the stuff in the fridge,
placing the order,
placing the order and unpacking it and putting it in your fridge, that's huge. And that's just, again, another small thing that you don't think about until you think about it and you're like, holy crap, I spend an entire day a month on food, which is
ridiculous. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's easy to cut out for sure. So, can you tell our listeners and our viewers, let's unpack that scarcity mindset bit that we talked about for a minute. What are some of the really big scarcity mindset blocks that you have that you're working to overcome? Because I know that that's something that's really big in our life right now. We're trying to really acknowledge our bad mindsets and shift them immediately so that we have abundance mindsets that bring us more money and more time and everything that we want more of in our life. So let's talk about that.
Yes, I actually wanted to talk about this earlier. Scarcity mindset is such a lie. You think that, there are a dozen other people that do something that you want to do, and like I said before, not one single person can do everything. Like, they can't service every person in your area in that one thing. Mm-hmm. So I was saying earlier with photographers, there might be a dozen photographers in your town that are doing family portraits, but it's just kind of happenstance that a family picks a certain photographer. They might have a good portfolio, but if you have a decent portfolio, you have as good a chance as anybody else to get picked to do that. So, for you to think that whatever your niche is, whatever your business, whatever, side hustle you want to pick, that it's too crowded. There's too many influencers on Instagram. There's too many podcasters. There's too many vloggers. There's too many bloggers, whatever. There's not. It's if you pick the proper niche, whatever you're, well versed in, people will come. If it's there, people don't know about you until you make them. You put yourself out there and they find you.
That's big.
So, on the other side, scarcity in money, that's another lie that we tell ourselves. Because even today, going to the store, I had to pick up a couple things for the business, and I'm thinking, do we have enough in our checking account for me to buy this? And I'm like, of course we do. Like, for me to spend $100 on a handful of supplies was like, in the past that would have been a big deal to just, because that $100 in the back of my head is like, oh, we could buy groceries or diapers and formula for our babies, and but that scarcity thought is just, it's so limiting to say, we're not going to have any more if I spend this $100. It's like, no, I'm spending this $100 on our business and on us for us to grow more. So this $100 is going to come back to us tenfold in other aspects.
100%. Yeah, anything that you're going to be investing in yourself or your business is going to pay dividends. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely worth investing. Wow. Larry, thank you so much for coming on. I think that we just have some final thoughts that I want to share with our listeners and our viewers. Time is, at the end of the day, so valuable.
Yes.
Is there anything that you want to share that you really think that our listeners can take away from today in regard to saving their time or scarcity or anything like that?
I think the biggest thing that anybody should take away is that money is unending. You might say, all right, I could save myself a couple $100 if I do it myself. But, like we said before, you can always earn more money, but you can't earn more time in a day. Like, there is 24 hours end to end each day. And if you spend, like I said, 2 hours in your day food shopping and food prep and all that, and our kids are in daycare for a good chunk of the day, but there's so many small things that need to get done. If you can take one of those things off of your plate and pay someone else to do it, you will free yourself up to have more opportunity to make more money than what you're spending in help. So, if you spend, $150 a week, let's say, in meal prep, you can easily use, that amount of time can be, instead of spent meal prepping, can be spent doing whatever you do, and I'm sure that you'll make more than $150 in 2 hours worth of your time spent.
Definitely. That's so great. Thank you. Thank you for coming on again today. We'll have you again next week. We love having Larry on the show because this is like a real look into our life. Mm-hmm. Everything that we're having conversations about in real life, we're making a note so that we can talk about it here, or hook up the podcast microphone so that we can talk about it. Share with us anything that you really took away from this episode. Tag us, tag Larry. We love to see it. We love to repost it. We love to share it. And like always, we'll see you soon.
Yep. Thanks for having me. See you. See you guys next week.
Bye.